Within the journey of human consciousness, growth is not just a concept. It is an unfolding process. Ancient wisdom suggests that our presence here is part of a grand cycle of learning and becoming. Each lifetime offers a unique landscape for the soul's evolution, shaped by our actions, intentions, and awareness. But what marks the moment when this long journey approaches its culmination? How do you know if you are in a final stage of deep inner development, standing at the threshold of a profound freedom? While most of us are swept up in the currents of daily life, there are clear, subtle signals that emerge when a person is nearing a state of completion. These are not loud, dramatic events. They are quiet shifts in your inner world, moments of awakening that show you are no longer bound by the common attachments, fears, or distractions of the world. In our time together, we will explore 10 foundational signals that point to this advanced state of being. These insights are drawn from a deep observation of the human heart. If you recognize some of these within your own experience, it could be a meaningful affirmation that you are walking a path of true inner liberation. Let us begin this journey of reflection with the first signal of a soul finding its way home. 1. A release from the grip of the material. One of the clearest indicators of this deep maturation is a natural release from the grip of material things. While the world around you may be endlessly chasing wealth, possessions, or external approval, a person in this phase of their journey feels a growing space between themselves and these pursuits. This isn't something you force. It happens on its own, like a river naturally flowing away from a bank it no longer needs. You may find that acquiring new things or chasing status no longer holds the same thrill. In fact, you might feel a sense of unease or emptiness in environments built solely around accumulation. Your focus moves from having more to being more. This is not indifference. It is a profound shift in perspective. Wisdom teaches us that lasting fulfillment can never be found in things that are external and ever changing. When you begin to find your joy in simplicity, connection, and a quiet mind, it is a sign that you have already integrated the essential lessons about where true value lies. This shift changes how you connect with others. You find yourself less drawn to impressive displays of success and more to people who radiate authenticity and kindness. Your conversations naturally gravitate toward meaning, growth, and shared understanding rather than superficial topics. You begin to embody the truth that nothing outside of you can ever make you whole. That lasting contentment is an inside job. It's not about rejecting money or comfort. It's about no longer building your identity upon them. This quiet inner change is a monumental step toward true freedom. 2. A deep need for stillness. As your inner world expands, one of the most significant shifts you will experience is a deep and persistent need for stillness. This is more than just wanting a quiet afternoon. It is a fundamental pull towards silence, space, and solitude. Those who are in this advanced stage of their journey often feel the most connected when they are simply by themselves. It's not that you dislike company. It's that you have discovered the profound richness of your own inner landscape. You may notice social gatherings leaving you feeling drained, no matter how friendly the people are. The constant chatter of the world feels intrusive. Crowds can become overwhelming. Your energy is no longer fueled by outside stimulation. It is nourished in quiet reflection, in walks through nature, in the simple act of listening to your own breath. From a space of deep awareness, we find that silence is not an absence. It is a presence filled with clarity. The more we develop internally, the more we seek this stillness. Because it is only here, without the constant noise of the world, that we can perceive things as they truly are. This gravitation towards solitude is connected to the gentle dissolving of the need for external validation. On the earlier parts of the path, we often look to others to tell us who we are. But as you approach a state of completion, you understand that your true essence cannot be reflected back to you by anyone else. Only in stillness can the illusions fall away. You might find yourself spending more time with the natural world, feeling a profound kinship with the trees, the water, and the sky. You might crave days without speaking, untethered from your phone and the demands of others. Some may gently withdraw from certain dynamics, not from anger, but from a deep need to preserve their own inner peace. This pull is not loneliness, it is alignment. It is one of the clearest signals that you are finding a state of enduring peace. 3. A profound resonance with life. Another defining and profound signal that you may be in this final stage of unfolding is a profound resonance with life. This is not weakness, but a sacred openness to the energy, emotions, and experiences that flow through all of existence. In earlier stages, you may have been focused on building resilience or a sense of separation. But in this phase, your heart begins to awaken to the deep interconnectedness of everything. This may manifest as a powerful emotional depth. You might find yourself moved more easily, not just by your own struggles, but by the beauty and pain of the world. A piece of music, an act of kindness between strangers, or a story of injustice can stir a powerful response deep within you. This is more than simple empathy. It is an awareness from the soul that the lines we draw between me and you are starting to fade. Ancient wisdom speaks of this openness as compassion in its purest form. As the grip of the self loosens, the heart naturally opens. You no longer see others as separate actors driven by flaws. You begin to perceive the underlying pain or confusion that motivates their actions. The same struggles you have worked to understand within yourself. This heightened awareness can sometimes feel overwhelming, particularly in chaotic spaces. This deep sensitivity might also make you more aware of energy itself. You may feel a clear discomfort in places with heavy or discordant vibrations. You intuitively sense what is left unsaid. Crowded places might feel like an overload, and you may need time in solitude to re-center yourself. Some might call this being an empath, but it points to something deeper, a spiritual attunement. Your entire being is becoming more sensitive, not to suffer, but to understand. With this resonance comes a powerful urge to be of service. You feel drawn to offer help, to soothe, or simply to be a source of calm. The world's struggles no longer feel like someone else's problem. They become a call to love more deeply, a call you feel in your very being. 4. An unshakable core amidst chaos. One of the most telling signals of this deep inner work is the emergence of an unshakable core of peace, even when the world around you is in turmoil. This peace is not dependent on your situation. It is not something you gain from success or a problem-free life. It is a state of being that rises from your center and remains largely untouched by external storms. Most people react with fear when things go wrong. They are gripped by anxiety in the face of uncertainty, or feel destabilized by the actions of others. But if you are reaching this level of maturity, you'll begin to notice that you are no longer so easily thrown off balance. You are able to respond from a place of clarity, rather than react from a place of fear. You can experience disappointment or sadness, but you are not completely consumed by it. The pain is felt, but the suffering is different. Why does this happen? Because you have an embodied understanding of the nature of change. It's a law of nature, everything rises and falls. When this truth moves from being an idea in your head to a feeling in your bones, you develop a kind of spiritual resilience. You stop fighting the flow of life. You stop attaching your sense of self to specific outcomes. You see that challenges are teachers, not punishments. In this stage, peace becomes your default state. You can face difficult situations with clear eyes. You can hold space for pain without crumbling beneath it. You begin to view life as a powerful, unfolding story. Sometimes beautiful, sometimes difficult, but always moving. And because your journey has likely given you a profound perspective on drama and conflict, your soul is simply no longer interested in disturbance. It seeks only what is real. This does not make you numb. It makes you fully present. You feel everything, but you are not a slave to your feelings. Others may be drawn to you in difficult times, not even knowing why. They feel your steady energy as an anchor in their storm. Your very presence begins to soothe. If you have noticed this deep calm within you, even during life's most challenging chapters, it is more than just getting older. It may be the arrival of a profound inner freedom. 5. A quiet sense of walking a different path. Have you often felt that you don't quite sync up with the world around you, as if you are observing a game that everyone else is playing? This quiet, inner sense of walking a different path is one of the most powerful signs that you are reaching a unique stage of maturity. People in this phase often feel like they are operating on a different frequency, even from a young age. While those around you are invested in passing trends, social drama, or accumulating things, you may have found yourself quietly asking, what is the true purpose of all this? You might feel a distance from societal expectations, uninterested in what is considered a normal goal, and puzzled by the patterns that many people accept without question. This feeling of being different is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is your own inner wisdom asserting itself. The more you develop internally, the more you begin to see through the common illusions that keep people chasing things that do not bring lasting peace. Those who are waking up from these illusions will naturally feel out of step with a world that is still largely dreaming. Others may not understand you. They might see you as too sensitive, too quiet, or too serious. They don't recognize the depth behind your calm observation or the quiet weight of your perspective. You may have tried to conform at times, only to find that it feels empty and inauthentic. Instead of trying to force yourself to fit in, you begin to embrace your own way of being, even if it means walking alone at times. You may also feel a loving detachment from your background or upbringing. While you hold love for your roots, it feels as if your journey has guided you beyond many of the beliefs and patterns you grew up with. You find your truth in quieter places, in stillness, in nature, in reflection. This experience can be challenging because the human need to belong is strong. But your journey is not about fitting in. It is about becoming fully yourself. Over time, this feeling of separation transforms into a quiet confidence. You no longer require the approval of others. You stop making yourself smaller to fit into their expectations. You recognize that your unique perspective is a gift, a sign that you are moving toward a deeper alignment with truth. If you have ever felt like an old soul, grounded in a wisdom beyond your years, and gently removed from the frantic pace of the modern world, know that you are not lost. You are simply on your own path. 6. A natural release of the need to perform. In the advanced stages of this inner journey, a powerful and gentle shift occurs. The need to perform for others begins to dissolve. Unlike in earlier phases, where our identity and decisions were often driven by our self-image, you now begin to see that constructed persona for what it is, a mask. You simply stop needing to prove your worth. Things like titles, appearances, winning arguments, and seeking validation begin to feel heavy and unnecessary. It is not that you stop caring about living well, but you realize that your inherent value has nothing to do with how you are perceived by the world. This natural letting go of the ego's demands is a profound sign of spiritual maturation. Ancient wisdom from many traditions points to this attachment to a false self as a primary source of our struggle. This self always needs something, attention, control, praise, to feel secure. But a soul that is coming into a state of fullness begins to see through this game. You might notice that a compliment does not make you feel overly proud, and a criticism does not wound you as it once did. Why? Because your sense of self is no longer anchored in the shifting opinions of others. It rests in a deeper place, in your own quiet awareness. Emotions like anger or jealousy might still arise, but they pass through you like clouds in the sky. You no longer identify with them so strongly. They are just weather patterns. You stop defending a persona, and instead, you learn to rest in your own being. You find yourself listening more and needing to speak less. The urge to be seen as better than others is replaced by a genuine desire to understand and connect without an agenda. This shift also changes how you view setbacks. Instead of personal failures, you see them as feedback or simple course corrections. Your responses become more thoughtful, less reactive. You are no longer defending, You are observing. This quiet power is not something you learn in a book. It is earned over a long journey of navigating the pressures of the ego. In this stage, authenticity becomes your natural way of being. You stop performing. You become more gentle. You smile from a real place. You forgive with ease. And ironically, this quiet strength, free from the need to impress, becomes truly magnetic to others. When you feel yourself no longer caring about who gets the credit, who is right, or who appears more successful, you may be standing on the shore of a vast inner freedom where your true self can finally breathe. 7. A sense of inner direction without needing a map. Another profound signal that you are aligning with a deeper truth is the emergence of a powerful inner direction. Even if you can't explain it with logic, this sense of purpose does not arise from ambition or from what society tells you to want. It emanates from your core, like a quiet but steady magnetic pull guiding your way. You may not know the final destination, but you have a deep and abiding trust in the journey itself. You might feel a sense that you are here for a reason, not for fame or fortune, but to contribute something essential, perhaps healing, insight, or simply a stable presence. Even if your external life appears ordinary, you feel inwardly that your being here matters. You begin to understand that every small act of kindness and every moment of conscious awareness sends a ripple out into the world. You realize that living with integrity is itself a powerful mission. Wise traditions speak of this as aligning with your true path. As you move into alignment, your choices are no longer governed by what others expect of you. They begin to flow from what feels true at the deepest level. You might suddenly be drawn to new places, new connections, or new ways of being without any logical explanation. You might take turns in your life that confuse others, but you know in your heart that they are right and necessary. This inner compass is a defining feature of this stage. You feel less desperate to have your whole life planned out. You simply trust that the path is revealing itself one step at a time. Even in moments of confusion or pain, a silent voice within encourages you to stay the course. And you listen, because you are no longer operating from fear, but from a quiet faith in the unfolding process. You begin to care less about outcomes and more about the quality of your presence. Whether you are speaking to a friend, tending to a plant, or simply sitting in silence, you feel you are participating in something far greater than your individual story. You may feel like an instrument for a larger wisdom to move through, and you learn to surrender to that current rather than fighting it. In this stage of the journey, purpose often expresses itself through simple service, by teaching what you've learned, by soothing what is hurt, by creating beauty, or simply by radiating a field of calm. Your purpose becomes less about what you do and more about who you are being. If you have ever felt this quiet, powerful pull to live with deep meaning, without needing anyone else to understand why, your soul may be finding its truest course. 8. Heightened awareness and inner clarity. A clear and compelling signal that you are in an advanced stage of development is the awakening of a heightened awareness and inner clarity. These are not just occasional gut feelings. It is a consistent and reliable trust in your own internal guidance, an inner knowing that often transcends logical thought. In many earlier stages of our lives, we are taught to rely on external sources, experts' data, social proof, to make our decisions. But as you move toward a state of inner completeness, a profound shift happens. You begin to realize that the most trustworthy guidance system resides within you. This inner knowing can appear as moments of sudden insight about people, choices, or complex situations. You may experience moments where you simply know something is true without needing evidence, or you grasp the heart of a matter with very little information. This is your deeper consciousness communicating with you, offering a wisdom that has been cultivated over a long journey. Traditions of self-inquiry emphasize the power of stillness to cultivate this intuitive clarity. In this stage of life, that practice becomes almost second nature, because the constant chatter of the ego and worldly desires has much less influence over your mind. You become finely attuned to the subtle currents of life, the synchronicities, the gentle nudges, the silent whispers of your own inner knowing. This heightened awareness can also serve as a protective guide. You may find yourself naturally moving away from certain people or situations because your inner compass signals that they are not in harmony with your path. Conversely, you might feel a powerful pull toward an experience or person without knowing why, and trusting that pull leads to profound growth. This growing sensitivity to the unseen architecture of life can feel unfamiliar at first, but it is a sacred instrument. It demonstrates that you are waking up to the larger intelligence that flows through all of existence. If you find that your inner sense of direction rarely fails you, and that the voice of your own deep wisdom is becoming louder and clearer than any voice outside of you, it may be a sign that you are stabilizing in a profound new way of being. 9. A compassion that holds everything. A defining characteristic of entering this mature stage of the human journey is the blossoming of a boundless compassion. This feeling is not just reserved for those you love, but extends outward to all of life. This compassion is not a choice or a moral stance. It is a natural overflow from a heart that has understood something fundamental about existence. As you grow into this awareness, you begin to truly recognize that all beings, from people and animals to the very earth itself, are part of one interconnected web of life. The great wisdom traditions teach that compassion and loving kindness are the highest expressions of an awakened consciousness, and souls in this phase begin to embody these qualities naturally. You may find a deep, spontaneous desire to alleviate the struggles of others, not out of a sense of duty, but from a place of genuine connection. You become more patient with the imperfections of others, more tolerant of their journey, and more willing to let go of judgment. This compassion flows even toward those who may have caused harm, because you can see the pain or confusion that lies behind their actions. This profound shift transforms how you live each day. Simple acts of generosity, like listening deeply to someone or caring for a creature in need, bring you an immense sense of fulfillment. You may find yourself naturally drawn to supporting causes that promote healing, justice, or balance in the world. But even if you lead a quiet life, your heart holds a steady, tender regard for all of creation. Such expansive warmth is a clear sign that you are moving beyond the confines of a separate self. You are preparing to merge with a more universal understanding based on love and connection. If you notice your heart has more space each day, and your capacity to care for all things grows stronger and steadier, you are walking the most beautiful part of the path toward true wisdom. 10. A serene acceptance of the flow. The final and perhaps most profound signal that you are in a state of inner completion is a serene sense of acceptance. This means being ready to let go, not just of things, but of your tight grip on life itself. This readiness is not born from weariness or a sense of defeat. On the contrary, it arises from a deep peace with the natural flow of existence and an understanding that every chapter, including the last one, is part of a whole and meaningful journey. You may notice that the fear of the end begins to fade. It is replaced by a peaceful curiosity about the great mystery. The unknown is no longer a source of terror because you have cultivated a deep trust in the process of life itself. You may find your mind spending less time caught in worry about what is to come and more time resting in what is. The attachment to your identity, your body, and the stories of your past starts to loosen its hold. The wise have always taught that true freedom is found in releasing our attachments, not just to possessions, but to our very idea of who we are. When your spirit is reaching this state of maturity, you embody this teaching. You understand that clinging to youth, to certainty, to past glories or regrets is the source of our deepest struggle, and so you gently begin to practice surrender and faith in the process. This can show up in quiet ways: a calm embrace of your body's natural changes, a gentle release of old resentments, or the ability to speak of life's final transition with a sense of peace. You may feel a desire to simplify and put your affairs in order, not from a place of anxiety, but from a place of profound clarity. This readiness is not about giving up on life. It is about rising above the fear of its cycles. It is the Spirit's way of saying, I am at peace with the entire journey. I am ready for what's next. It is the final step in moving toward a vast, open freedom. If these reflections resonate within you, it is a sign that your own journey has brought you to a place of profound depth and wisdom. To recognize these signals in yourself is to acknowledge a long path of overcoming, learning, and expanding. It means you are nearing a state of inner liberation, where struggle gives way to a lasting peace. These signs, from outgrowing the material world to a readiness to accept all of life's flow, are not random feelings. They are the clear markers of a soul that has learned its essential lessons and is preparing to rest in a state of freedom. The more you honor these shifts, the more you align with your truest nature, which is pure awareness, compassion, and unwavering peace. This stage of your life is a sacred invitation. It is a time to cultivate stillness, to deepen your compassion, and to awaken fully in each moment. The journey may present its own challenges, but it is also the most deeply rewarding, as it leads to a freedom that cannot be shaken. If you see this path unfolding for you, honor it. Trust the wisdom that arises from within. Walk with a gentle and confident heart toward your own awakening. The way is clear, and your own profound freedom is right here.